Hi everyone and welcome back to another episode of T-Dog RC. I'm Tim and in this episode we are going to be finishing off the assembly of the Multiplex Funjet ULTRA2, and it's all the fiddly bits really. So we've got to get this motor mount glued on, we've got to get the motor fastened in, ESC cabled up, RC gearing, fins to glue on, going to leave those till last, canopy latches, all the little bits and bobs like that we've got to get sorted. So I just want to say before we get on the bench, if you are not a subscriber and you've come across this video, it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, but it helps us out on YouTube more than you can imagine. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, so hit that subscribe button and I can make a promise to you that all the people that do subscribe and all the current subscribers, the more subscribers I've got, the better and better the models are going to get and more interesting. So help me out, hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and let's get this on the bench and let's get stuck in. Okay, well, welcome back to the bench. What's the date today? It is February the 25th, so almost the end of winter, almost going into spring, but it's gone freezing cold again here in the UK. It's really cold tonight, and what you wouldn't have realised from that clip just then, the intro, I was actually standing in front of the heater with it burning the back of my leg, so I was trying to sort of rush through that intro a bit, so apologies for that. So yeah, we're back on the bench, really enjoying building this. It's really going together nice. It is a foam model, of course, but I've got to say, and you know, it's not a cheap foam model from Banggood or you know some of these ones that you can get that come in a battered old box. This is a premium foam model, and I was a bit sceptical about what a premium foam model could be like, really, because at the end of the day, foam's foam, but this is put together really, really well. They've thought about loads of stuff. All the mouldings are really crisp and clean where you've got to put things in. So I'm really impressed with it. Yeah, and it's going together really nicely. So that's how the underside's looking. You can see we've got the servos in, we've got the spar in. One of the things I've done since the last episode, which I'll stick a card up in the top right corner if I watch this back and listen to myself saying this. The only thing I didn't like about the kit, and it's literally the only thing, is that the push rods that you get with it, I felt were very flimsy. You can see how easily that bends there. And just didn't seem to live up to all the other components plus the performance of this model. This is going to be really fast, 150-ish miles an hour. So what I've done is I actually went through my bag of spares, and I'd already got some push rods from another model, a Flying Wing actually, that I've no longer got, but I'd saved the push rods for it. So I've put those in, and they're much thicker steel. So yeah, they'd already got the Z-bends in for the servo. I just had to cut them down a bit because they were way too long. But so that's the only bit I've replaced. Still need to, once we've got the radio gear in, just finish these off, put a bit of CA on the nut there, and just put a bit of Loctite in the grub screw there. But like I say, I'll wait until we've got the radio gear in and got that set up. So first thing I'm going to crack on with now is this motor mount, and again, just to show you the sort of detail that they've thought of. Don't know if you can see, I think you can just about see that. Because I was thinking, right, I've got to glue this on, I'm going to get some sandpaper and roughen this up because it's got to go onto the foam here, onto the back. But as you can see there, let me get that into focus again, they've actually already done it. I think you can just about make that out there. They've actually put like a rough surface on the inside of this. So just those little details like that they've really thought about. And inside there as well, you can see there's like a notch or a tab sticking out there, whatever you want to call it. And that tab just fits into this slot at the bottom there. So just there. So you line that up so it can only go on one way. And that just goes on there, and again, it's such a nice fit. No play in it at all, goes on perfect. And that's the sort of thing I'm talking about with this model. You can really tell everything's been designed, and that is a nice secure fit. I'm going to put it on with foam tack. I was thinking whether I need something stronger, but of course it's a pusher, so actually the motor is going to be pushing on this. It's not going to be pulling it, so I think as long as it's, you know, foam tack's going to be fine basically. So my next job is to glue that on, I believe. I'll just double check the instructions though and just make sure I'm not meant to mount the motor or anything like that first. So yeah, can confirm that we put this on first before we install the motor. So let's get some of the old foam tack, which is probably going to be all gummed up. Also the problem is I've had my little workshop heater on before I came in, but all the glue and stuff's really cold as well, which doesn't help. But let's see if we can get some out there. We can. Okay, so we've got a decent amount of foam tack on there, and then we're going to get this cone, make sure that's really nicely squidged all over there. Okay, and then usual thing, we'll just leave that to dry for a few minutes and then lock it into place. Okay, so this is the motor setup. I've already mounted it to this nice anodised aluminium piece that you get in the kit. So 4 screws there, thread lock those in place with the shaft sticking out the back of this one, and then the wires are gonna fold back like that. Obviously connect to the ESC. I do need to just change the connector on the ESC, so that's what I'm going to do next, because this has got an MPX, whatever you call them, connector on, and I need XT60, so I'm just going to snip that off and solder an XT60 on, and then fasten it together. I've got to test the motor direction, and then what we've got to do, or what it suggests you do anyway, is you see that hook there in the back? The cables are meant to actually, these motor cables are actually meant to sort of hook into that before you actually fasten this in place. So it's going to be a tad fiddly, but the idea is it just keeps those sort of out of the way. But I don't think it's an absolute showstopper if I can't get them in. It's not like it's a fan and it's blocking any air or anything like that, but I'll do my best to get those in. And then basically the motor just screws. You got these 2 screws that go in there. There's no washers for those actually. I might just find some washers. Yeah, I'll probably just get some washers out of my box of bits. Just put some washers on there, and then they screw into this motor mount there, and then you've got this bolt which goes in the bottom here, and that's actually got a thread in there, and that is so that allows you to adjust the down thrust, which is quite cool. So the more you tighten that, I guess it hits the back of the motor mount here, and then it's gonna what's it gonna do? If you're pushing on that, it's gonna angle that down, isn't it, as you push more on? So I think that's how it's going to work. So yeah, just so to stop it from when you open the throttle, it just goes vertical basically. So you can adjust that, which is quite cool. So anyway, next job for me is get the soldering iron out, get that connector changed, and then we'll get this fed in. And I shall show you the results. Okay, motor is mounted. That went in there quite nice. These 2 screws do screw in really nice to this bulkhead. It does feel like, you know, they're not going to come out. This down thrust screw bolt doesn't actually almost seem to be long enough. I'm not quite sure, but I've got it set all the way in. But I think if I undo it, it's not actually going to do anything. So anyway, I've got it set. You might not be able to pick it up, but I've got a little bit of down thrust set there anyway, because I think this is definitely going to need it. the speed that it's going to go. I've tested the motor, that's working, going in the right direction, so that's all good. So my next little thing is I've just got to glue these tabs in to these two slots here in the front. So really easy, they just glue in there like that. Again, I'll just use a bit of foam tack to put those in. So they glue in there, and then on the then there's got some slits on the top of the canopy, and you just put these things in. They go in there like that actually. So again, we'll just glue those in like that, and then they catch on to those things just to secure the canopy on. So that's my next job, which is obviously pretty straightforward to do. And then I've just got to put the battery tray in, which is just this little thing, and there's a slot for this here, so it just goes in here, but I've just got to figure out, I think it goes round that way potentially, so it gives you a little gap underneath the middle, and that's, I think, is going to then allow me to pass a battery cable through it, battery strap. That's what I'm thinking anyway. So I'd rather, they do supply all these bits of Velcro, which I'm assuming you stick on, but I don't really want to just put Velcro on the battery. I'd rather have it strapped down, because it's just going to be a lot more secure that way. So I'll figure that bit out anyway, and there isn't actually a strap with this, so I just need to see if I've got a spare strap knocking around, which I think I have somewhere, and fasten that on before I glue it in place. So I'll have a fiddle with that anyway and figure something out. Oh, actually, I tell a lie, there is a battery strap. There is a battery strap, so that must go underneath it then. Yes. Okay, so there is that strap included, but it's just like a self Velcroing thing. Velcros to itself. I might have a look and see if I've got a proper strap, because I kind of prefer those, but I'll have a look what I've got in my spares box anyway, and we'll see. And then once I've done that, we've got to get the radio gear in. I've got to put the servo covers on, because I have now changed. If you've watched the first video, I'm sort of thinking that the servo covers won't go on because the horns are too high, but it does actually say in the instructions to put the horn on the very first slot. Sorry, put the push rod through the very first slot on the horn. So I'm going to cut these down, and then that'll enable me to get the servo covers on. And then it's just a case of gluing these fins on. So I'll get all those little bits done, and then I'll come back to you when I'm about to glue the fins on. Okay, been a couple of days since I did that last clip. Haven't been able to get in the workshop, but we're back in now and made more progress. So got the servo covers glued in place, so I've trimmed those down. I also noticed from the instructions I'd got the little whatever you call these things, like push rod keepers, the wrong way round. I'd got them on the outside, but they're meant to go on the inside. So change those round both sides, and I've then foam tacked these plates in place and cut down the horns a little bit further, so they're on both sides. And then I, in the end, decided just to use the battery strap that was included, because the one that I was talking about in the last clip with like a buckle on it, it's too small. You can't, the Velcro doesn't Velcro to itself enough, because it's just too small anyway. So that's gone in nicely anyway there, the little battery tray. And I've also used a piece of the hook side of their Velcro that they've supplied, because most of my batteries have got the furry side on them. So I'll just stick those down and then just use their strap for a little bit of extra security. I've got the The clip's glued in, so the canopy goes on. You do have to push this canopy right back, otherwise it doesn't line up with the clips. But then that does line up. I just hope they're going to be strong enough. I think they are, but obviously there is a hole there, but the air shouldn't build up any pressure there because it should flow through. But obviously this thing's going to go pretty damn fast, so hopefully it won't blow off. But we'll have to see. I haven't put the fins on yet. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to get my receiver installed and just get the radio set up. Then I'm going to be into putting all the stickers on, or decals, whatever you want to call them. But I did think it might actually be easy to put those on the fins before I actually glue them in place. Because basically, you know, it's pretty straightforward. They just glue on top like that. So I may as well. It'll just be easier to handle them and put the stickers on before I do that. So we're almost there, basically. All the sort of construction's done, or assembly, whatever you want to call it. So I've literally just got to put the stickers on, glue those fins in place, get my receiver in, and we're done. So I'm going to crack on, get all those bits done, and then I will show you the final result. Okay, well, it is done and looking superb. Looks fast already without even flying it. It took me ages to get all the stickers on. There's quite a few to put on, but again, with the instructions, there's a guide like where they all should go. They're all numbered. It's just really well thought out. Really impressed with this model and the way it's gone together. So yeah, really pleased with it. I just got to put the prop on, do a little bit more messing around with the RC gear, but she's ready for maiden, basically. So yeah, really enjoyed putting this one together. Like I say, it's all been very nicely made. Nice, everything's fitted together really well, very well thought out. Loads of good instructions and illustrations and that sort of thing. So obviously it's not a complicated balsa model, but it's still nice to have those things available. The only other quick thing I'm going to do before I fly it is I'm just going to get my covering iron on a low heat and just run over the edges of some of these decals, because I always just think it just seals them down a little bit better. So that's something I'm going to do. Yeah, so if you've enjoyed watching these few episodes on building this FunJet, and you're into fixed wing RC, EDFs, technically this isn't an EDF, but it's almost an EDF. I do a lot of bolts stuff as well, nitro, electric obviously, and a little bit of FPV, fixed wing as well. Then you want to subscribe to the channel, and if you have enjoyed this and you want to see the maiden, if you hit the bell icon, then you'll be notified when I bring out the video of me doing the maiden flight. Weather's still rubbish here in the UK. It's getting a bit frustrating now. We're end of Feb, literally 29th of Feb today. So hopefully we'll get some spring weather around the corner and we'll get some decent flying days. But I think at the minute the flying field's underwater, which isn't great. But yeah, really looking forward to maiden this. Hopefully it's going to go super quick 4S. As always as well, just want to say quick thanks to all those of you who've already subscribed and support the channel. Really do appreciate it. It's great to have you on board. And I'll see you soon for the next one.